Hello everyone, it is I, your teacher. I'm making one more of those videos where I'm trying to explain what's going on some photographs. It's it's a nice project, I think, for everyone to. It's mostly an expression thing. I found during this coronavirus period that some of my students have problems with expressing themselves, and some students are just excellent at doing that. So I've tried to come up with an idea to make everyone able to at least somewhat express themselves. So I'm just doing it like because this is the easiest thing I can find. But you can do it in various ways. It's really good to for everyone to connect ideas. So if you have something, connect it with something else, then you already have a story. So here I'm trying to connect pictures with my experiences. It's like an easy story to make, so I encourage everyone to do that. Why, you ask? Because it's really good to use language in any way, shape, or form. And because we aren't always like traveling to Argentina and I don't know, Japan and to we have to find a way to train our English. So this would be a nice start. I am going to do a shorter version with 10 pictures this time. I'm going to be describing a project that we took. If you remember, we went to Turkey last. I'm going to be talking about some pictures that I took with my friends, Daniel and Augustin. So I'm gonna go right into it now. Right, so I'm sure someone's gonna be asking, why are we in a car and why is this picture relevant? Well, there was some, there were trouble of I don't know how to put it. We ended up switching airports, so our trip to Turkey was like one extra day in Istanbul. We had to spend one more day in the capital, which is epic. Like, I don't know. It's like probably it's too much to digest. So that's basically the reason why I posted this picture instead of something from Istanbul. You just need a month at least. There's so many fantastic things. It's like culture everywhere and a lot of people everywhere. It's like it's fantastic. It's a fabulous experience. I don't know, for everyone who like to travel, go to Istanbul. It's like wow. I'm definitely coming back sometime because it's like just an amazing city. So this is a much easier picture to talk about because it doesn't have so much content. So there you can see Daniel and Augustin. They're like they're acting like bosses here. We are actually in a it's some sort of a car, like a big one. We ended up in this really weird situation because we wanted to spend as much time in Istanbul as possible before our flight. The flight was a really late one, so this is us coming back from town, and that was a really weird situation because we wanted to have dinner in Istanbul. So we found this wonderful restaurant. It was like it's something you don't see every day. There was a guy, and he was making food on the street. He was like doing it in some I don't know way that I haven't seen before. It was just live making food on the street. We just had to try that, so we went to that perfect restaurant and whoa, oh my God. And the food was everything and more than we hoped for. It was like probably the best thing I had in my life so far. So this preparing uh, the time it takes for the food to be ready, it's quite long. So we were like, I think we had an hour and a half to spare or something. I don't know. I remember it being tight. So we were eating in this restaurant and we were checking our taxi options. So we made I think it was two or three combinations, but there was this guy who just appeared. He was like really. I think it was a thing because from Istanbul to the airport, it's quite a good route for him to take. So he was willing to wait. So this guy, I went into the crossroads, and he waited for like I think 40 minutes. He was parked in front of the restaurant in a crossroads with all fours. So and just he just waited for us. So we felt so embarrassed that we went to 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 tell him something. So we were like talking to this guy. But he wasn't really good at speaking communicating English. He just said that everything is okay. But we found it like, please come on, come with us, come to this restaurant if you're waiting for so long. So we're gonna buy something for you to eat. We felt bad for the guy, but he was just like, no, it's cool. I'm waiting. You just take your time, and so we did. We ate and we went into that car, but it's like it's a really suspicious situation because people don't do that generally. Like, why would they wait for you for so long? I think it was probably the route because it's more money. So we felt a little bit awkward about the whole situation in the beginning. It was like the car was something very suspicious looking. It's like mafia style, really really nice and expensive. So we were like, and we're entering this car, and the guy's always on the cell phone. Uh, he's not even making eye contact. He was wearing sunglasses, and yeah, he was always talking about like he's doing something. He's in the middle of something, and he's like just he was handling us like we're just like baggage. So we went into this car, and then for some reason it was really stressful because you know those central locks. When the guy like just did central locks, and we felt a bit trapped in the car in that moment because it's quite dark. It had there, so it's pretty. We felt a bit scared, and then like exactly at the same time where we are entering this car, and it gets locked, right? So we're locked in the car, and it's a silent atmosphere. And in the beginning, it's like you can't hear a thing, and then suddenly I think it was even a radio drama in Turkish, something really like tight and with that special like what you can experience in like epic movies like old horrors. You find this music that makes you like a thriller, like something bad's gonna happen. Yeah, so it just we're locked in a car, and that that weird music's playing, and everyone like it was probably a radio drama in Turkish or something. So this drama is going on, and people are yelling in the drama, right? They're mad at each other for some reason, and this like really 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 creepy music. So we were like, are we going to die? That was like the first thing. Yeah, so it took us like I think it was a minute like to come to our senses. Like the guy's just driving normally, and we're going to get to the airport. He then at one point it's like you can't even see the driver most of the time. If I remember correctly, we're not like communicating at any point. But at one time he opened some compartment, and we he did tell us something. I think he was wondering if we like the music or something, if we wants to change something. So that's like we felt a bit relieved then that he like he's not gonna take us to cut out our organs or anything. It really was scary. I don't know. It was just mostly a visual thing because the guy was like He looked tough, like a mighty person, like someone you would probably like. If you were to envision a mafia boss, he would look like that. So yeah, that's why we felt a bit uncomfortable. But of course, we had in the back of our minds that it's like just everything's normal. The guy just has style. This is his style, right? So that's actually exactly what it was. It was like he was just he liked it to act out a little bit and be like yeah. So he took us to the airport. It was like I think it was a really fair price. The guy that took us hmm, to Istanbul, I'm not sure. It's like really close. Something they had both had similar prices, so we felt amazing because this was a really comfy ride. It's like royalty. I mean, we felt like kings driving in this epic limo, I think. So we also played like like little children and did silly things in the car. Yeah, but it was really a nice experience. So that's the first picture. Now, right. Why why in the world you say am I showing you this? And what is this? Well, it's actually the ceiling of St. Peter's Church in Hatay. It's a really nice monument to Christian religion. Augustine really appreciated it when we went there. So it was only, I think we went just the first day after we arrived to Hatay. That was I think our first destination, this church. So why am I not showing you the church? Because you can find pictures of this epic building everywhere. It's like this is more interesting. Yeah, it should be at least. So this is a picture of the ceiling, and what is epic about it? There are birds somewhere. Yeah. I can't find any though, but I specifically remember being in this church, and it was so like mesmerizing. There were just a few birds, and they were like flying like in really at really specific time. They would just fly by, and then you could see the bird. It's like something when you see something alive, and it's like camouflaged in the environment. So I remember specifically finding a bird. It was hard to find, but it was there. And then I took a photo of it, and this is the photograph. So the bird must be there somewhere, but I can't find it. I think my site is getting really not that amazing at this point, so I really can't find the bird. So I encourage everyone looking at this picture to try to find the bird for me because I can't find it. You know, I'm sure it's there because I took the picture with the bird in the frame. The bird was definitely in the frame when the picture was taken. I remember that specifically. It even flew a little bit just after I took a photo of it. So it's there, trust me. Yeah, right. So after this Saint Peter and Paul, yeah, this epic church, we went to this even more spectacular museum. I mean, it's not even more depends on the point of view. It's like it's more spectacular in the way of how much stuff it has. It has so much stuff in this building. I mean, I've never seen anything this monumental. I think the museum has like 17 different halls or something, if I remember correctly. Right, so these are all big, extraordinarily big spaces with stuff like this. So, yeah, this is a huge picture. So you can see Erkan there. He's like really at the bottom of the picture, and this the site above him, it's like all a wall. It's one wall. So you could imagine how big this actually is, right? So all of these walls, and this is just like one room, right? And all of these walls are covered with these mosaics. So holy shit, right? The mosaics. I mean, it's like it's a reconstruction from nearby sites, like from Antakya, from everywhere. I think in the near vicinity. Probably from other regions as well. I don't remember. The Our guide and told us about that, but I don't remember exactly from which regions the mosaics come from. But I mean, if I remember it well, every room had its story. So not all were mosaics, and not all mosaics were from the same place. But this is, I think, from a church that was like destroyed, and these are the stones collected from the ceiling, I believe, of the church. So it's like it's real size. So that's how it looked like in the church if you were to come to the building. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, it's obvious to me how this is really relevant, and they like to exhibit this, but I really it's hard for me to fathom even the the proportions of this endeavor. I mean, you literally this I can't even like. Yeah, the picture is not good enough quality. I can't even describe how difficult that must be. So you find every particular stone that was originally in this building that is now torn down, and you bring it here, right? So I guess probably a lot of stones must be destroyed and like probably just to keep some integrity. Some of them are just like remade. I don't know. It seems logical, but even if you have like 50% of the stones, even though I think they tell us they had it all, but I don't believe that. But even if you had like 50% or 60% of all of these stones, it's like really small stones of of a huge building like a church. So it must take ages for you to collect the mosaic and to put it like exactly in the right place. It's like an endless puzzle. I mean that this is wow, yeah, it's quite spectacular. Yeah, so this whole thing was like really an experience for us, right? And this the museum, it's not, if I remember it well, it's not just the mosaics. They also had epic statues and tombs. So all in one. They have the tombs. It's like huge. There was a huge tomb, bigger than like us, like a really huge one. I remember that vividly. And there was a big ass lion as well, Aslan. Why did I like that? You wonder. Well, Aslan, you remember that line from the cartoon and the story about the wardrobe and the witch and the lion. Yeah, that one's called Aslan. That's why it's so nice to me. It was also in this museum. Many There were many statues of huge lions. It was a thing, I guess, in Persia or something. So they got these huge statues as well. It's like something I've never seen before. Yeah, anywhere else, like in that magnitude. So I was like awe-stricken a lot of times in this museum. Right. So that was an epic place. I mean, you can't just nothing can describe it like you it has to be seen to be experienced. They're also like weird um they're weird artistic twists about it as well. I know a story being told about some there was a story being told about skeletons, and it was a pretty freaky one, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there was some skeletons and there was a story. It was a really vivid story. Yeah, so it's an epic place all around. Right. So on to the next one. Uh, yeah, this is this is I really don't know what to say about it. It's like it's so it's so touching. We found we found that every member of our team and all basically members of the project had their like cartoon counterparts welcoming committee. The kids made this. It's like I don't know. We were so touched when we saw this. I think everyone just took a picture of their avatar, and we were so like it's really if you're not used to that sort of thing, it gets to you. So it got to me emotionally. I think it got probably everyone a little bit. Like you see it like it's a really nice gesture of appreciation. People don't do that enough. Like I really found that to be a really nice token. Mm. Because we don't do that things in Croatia. I mean, people do it like for kids when while they're young, they play, and but when we get older, we just forget. I think it's in our culture, it's not that common to do these things like that. So we're all like really pleasantly surprised by these little guys with welcomes uh, and the flag. Yeah, I was like I was really glad to see. I mean, it's just like touching, I guess. Right. So yeah, the kids made that, and I think this is like us starting a tour of what our talented kids doing in Turkey. I think this is like yeah, hmm, yeah, it's like some gymnasium or something, and we are in a. Hmm, I think it's like they gave us chairs to look, and I'm not sure exactly what we're looking at this moment because there are so many things going on. These are intellectual quizzes. As you can see there are some like games being played. It's definitely a competition of some sort. So I'm not sure exactly what are we looking at this moment, but this is a this was a competition of really talented kids, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we were like just the observers. Everyone can come and observe this excellence being performed. I mean, that's a really nice idea. We then never do that in our country. So to have like an excellence competition in knowledge and having people see it, I mean, it's like really nice idea. And it's not epic as like sports competition because it's static, but the kids need encouragement, right? Anyhow, so it's like a really nice thing. For example, for families to come and like cheer for their kids and stuff. Yeah, me and Rudolph are looking at something, and Daniel and Augustine are also like checking stuff out. I'm think that we are probably checking out what's our next point because we were like moving. I think we had to see the music school also and a tech place also and a place for children with difficulties. So we were like just checking out what's going on at this point. Yeah, and this lady, forgot who she was, the lady on the right. Yeah, I think maybe she's a coordinator of this event or something. I don't remember her really well. Yeah, to her left are Maria and Raina. Maria, the Bulgarian principal. I think she's quite happy with this type of performance. I mean, being a principal, she probably coordinates similar things in her school. So like, I mean, for me, it would be like if I were a principal, would probably like enjoy seeing something that I myself could do in my school. And Raina seems really interested as well. Yeah, Raina is like to the right of Maria, and to the left of Maria is Sonia. They're all like really focused on a specific thing. They're probably looking at the same thing. but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Because there was a stage also. There were tables and there was a stage. Maybe it was like even prize giving ceremony or something. Maybe they're looking at that. Not sure at this point. Giannis is looking at that as well. Solid is looking at that as well. Everyone's just looking at that. Yeah, so it's probably ceremony, prize being given. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so right, so now we are in this. I think this was all really close, like some complex of buildings. Or if it wasn't really like in walking this, some things were in walking distance, and to some we had to go by car. So it's like relatively close. I think this is relatively close. This music school. So here you can see Rudolph's. Rudolph's is like trying to play the piano, I guess. He can play, I think. I'm not sure if he can play the piano. I'm sure he can play the guitar. Not sure about the piano. He probably can. Right. So he checked that out. He's checking that out a little bit, and Suleiman is like looking at the notes, I guess. Probably thinking about this guy that's gonna come. You're like, I'm sure that in this, and maybe it was even in this room, there appeared this guy who knew a lot of instruments. He knew to play like traditional instruments. So yeah, Suleiman was probably like, the guy's coming. Who can play better, Rules or him? So, well, yeah, the guy really played nicely. He played some an instrument that's really similar to a guitar, and one other thing, but I can't remember what it was. He was like just an music instruments teacher, I guess. He just demonstrated his like stuff to us. He was epic. I remember that. Yeah, so that I think that it happened in this room that we experienced this music. Uh, yeah. So right. Following that previous one, there was also a tech place, and we went to also there was like a school for disabled kids, mentally challenged, I think. Yeah, it was all in the same day, so it happened really fast. I'm not sure the in which order it all happened. So now on this next picture, we are in Chadbashi school. Yeah, we're in primary school. So this is the place where the serious stuff is happening. This is like our working area, and here you can see Daniel discussing something. It seems important. This is a bit blurry picture, but I picked it because it's like a process. I'm really a big fan of spontaneous pictures, but people don't like it because they don't feel like they're ready. Uh, but it's like these type of pictures describe some situations best. So Daniel's telling a story. Uh, I think we're trying to solve a problem that Suleiman posted. We had this train of thought idea to expose some techniques of handling our situations that were set in Latvia. We had some ideas we had some ideas in Latvia how to deal with behavioral problems. So we that was put into motion, and now in this moment, I think I'm not sure if it's that specific moment, but Suleiman made a list of things that need to be done, and I'm not sure if it's before or after. He wrote down this list on the I think is it even not sure if it was on this touch screen or on this blackboard behind him. It was something like that. Yeah, so we talked about these methods that need to be implemented with behavioral issues. Yeah, and Daniel was talking about that probably. So yeah, we also had a quiz here. Maybe he's even even speaking about the results of this quiz that we wrote. It was assessed, so maybe it's like commenting maybe we're commenting on that because like four countries were in this project, so people from different countries have different experiences, and we made like country based conclusions. So I think maybe Daniel's like speaking on behalf of Croatia at this moment. Eh, yeah, I think that actually might be because that were like two moments that happened in this room in like a space of 2 hours, I guess, or three. So it's one of those things. And Erkan is telling something to Augustin. Yeah, I think that Augustin had some ideas about the thing that we wrote that they were quite. It's like subjective. We wrote stuff, but yeah, when you have multiple really long answers in a poll, it's really hard to take out relevant and important information out of that. So I think that Augustine was actually complaining that some point wasn't coming across exactly, and it's really relevant. It was something like that. So Erkan and Augustine are discussing that, I believe, at this moment. Yeah, and Suleiman is like moderating the conversation. He's just waiting for people uh, to finish their thoughts, and he's directing the whole thing. He did an epic job there, like like a professional host or something. Right. Yeah, and next thing that happened, not sure if this was the same day. I think it was the next day. It was a really epic day in Chadbashi school. All of these wonderful teachers, they have really an excellent staff in Chadbashi school. They're all like a family. So they managed to gather all 8 grades of their school, like all of the children, to participate in this huge manifestation where kids have to wear traditional dresses. It's not all traditional. I think that they had like 8, if I remember correctly, performing groups. So each teacher got their group and they had to make a performance. So this, I'm not sure which grade are these kids. Maybe like fifth, sixth grade or something. But I chose this picture because I like the the traditional style that they are all like exhibit here. It's like I like traditional things, so it's just a subjective thing. And it was just so beautiful to me that all of these kids are respecting their tradition. And they all learned so young. They all learned how to dance this dance. It's like not an easy dance to do, and they were like choreographed almost perfectly by their teachers. They knew what to do at every point, so no one messed up actually at any point. It was like I don't know. I mean, I'm not a professional, but it looked like it was really good. All of the acts were epic. Like it was like really nice. And so these kids are actually dancing like they're on like a traditional wedding or something, and they're doing this really elaborate dance, and I was like fascinated by it because it's so nice. They're doing like pretty. I somewhat reminded me of things that we do in Croatia, but not to this scale. Like you can't do this in elementary schools in Croatia, because just ain't gonna happen. They won't do it so much. People in our country do it like more through some cultural gatherings and stuff. Like when there's a cultural gathering, people just then they do sometimes some traditional things, but not like as common practice. This was like more most. I think you have to have a cause, right? So they declared this day to be really important, and everyone needs to respect that. So even the children respect it, and it was like I don't know, awe-inspiring for us because the children also had a big finale and they all did this amazing act of putting a lot of it was also some sort of a picture of an more important person for Turkey. I think it's like father of their land. They all like nobody failed. they all like did it perfectly, came like together, and like it was like I'm not sure how even to describe that kind of thing. It's like epic synchronization at such a young age. It's like amazing, right? So this is like just it's out of this world what what was accomplished here. Um, yeah, and as in for the teachers, we also, as you can see, had an epic treatment. So it's like we're protected from the sun. We're like hanging out like the Sheikh here. We all felt royal. I don't know. It's like it's a surreal experience actually. We're watching at these amazing kids doing their amazing dance, and it's like you can't help it but feel like they're somewhat doing it for you as well here. So it's like it's really something special. I I mean I felt really honored by this, I guess. I think everyone felt like that a little bit. So Sonia to my left and Solvita are wearing sunglasses and they are struck by the sun a little bit. Look, Sonia is like really she's wearing some black shirt. I think she's hot probably here because it was really hot and the sun was like that's why you have this like I don't know how to call it this fabric above you so the sun doesn't like bother you so much. Yeah, so it was really hot here and Rudolph also has his sunglasses. He's like pretty comfortable here. Huh. Yeah, Suleiman also. Yeah, I guess I'm the exception here. I don't have glasses. It's like 50-50. Augustine has glasses, but he needs it for seeing things. Daniel as well. These are not sunglasses, so that doesn't count. Okay, yeah, enough about the glasses. It's like, I don't know. I find this funny. So yeah, everyone's like watching it, this amazing performance, and we're just awe-stricken. And the environment around the school in Chadbashi, it's also really nice. So to our left, there's this garden that has amazing flowers in it. Yeah, and behind it's also beautiful nature. I even remember seeing a donkey there. Like just across this fence, there's a donkey somewhere. And I remember playing with that donkey. I mean, I went to like take a picture and everything. It was like really nice. Childish, I know, yeah, but what you gonna do? Right. So, uh, to take a step further, I wasn't like sure what else to show in this exhibition because like the first one that I did was so long and I had to do it shorter because the video it's like 50 minutes and it's hard to upload to YouTube at any reasonable quality. So I had to do it really low quality. So I'm gonna try to do this shorter. One more picture, and this is like an homage to maybe it's not the best, but it was like most places had it similar in Turkey. It's an homage to their cuisine. It's like really, really versatile and absolutely delicious. So they one more. There's one more of these spontaneous pictures. I think even this one is probably taken by Suleiman because he's not to be seen here. Yeah, so you can see me and Rudolph eating, and that's the way you do it because it's so fine. This food, I mean, it was like oh my god. This bread actually it's really nice. So I remember first time eating in Turkey, I just ate a lot of this bread and I couldn't eat anything more. So I think that by this time this must be our final dinner. I think by this time I learned so I didn't like go overboard with the bread. I just ate the soup, I think, but it's like the food is all really tasty, but you need to know how to play with the combinations. Like you have such a versatile choice. You have to combine the vegetables, the fruit, the vegetables, the meats, the soups, the breads, and the variety of spices. It's like really, it's an art form. I don't know how to combine these things really well. So what I did, what I was just trying everything. So when you try everything, then you know what you like most. So I did that the first day, and then the next day I only did like two things that I found like these are my things. I'm going to eat that because the choices. I mean, it's even hard to remember how all of these things are called that go together. It's like wow, it's not easy to remember even, and I'm not sure how they make it. So it's really an art form, I guess, because in our country we don't do it this elaborately. You just make like two or three things, like one main dish and one like thing that goes by it, some salad and something, and that's that. But this is like I don't know. It's like from this combination of things that you generally get in Turkey to eat on a table, you can make probably 20 different meals or maybe even more. I'm not sure. I didn't calculate, but it's like an extremely large versatility. So that's what's like I was also like really impressed about how it all works, and it all seems. I mean, it's not like seeming. It is the things that you eat are generally fresh fruit and vegetables here, because this is like Chadbashi is I think I'm not sure 40 kilometers or something from the Syrian border. So it's like yeah, something like that, I guess. So it's really far to the south of the country, and they have a lot of like their own food there. So it's like really top quality food, and we were like, wow. And yeah, this was a really nice restaurant. There were like also interesting people in front. Turks are all really um, I don't know how to put it. I mean, they are not like in your face, but they don't mind communicating with you, especially if it's like a transaction. I remember buying things on the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, and also in Hatay. We went to buy some things. People really like to talk to you, and well, it's slightly problematic because the English barrier is like really, really big in this country. Not a lot of people speak English, but the ones that do, they're fluent. They do it like really well. Like every communicate. I think that the Turks really take their communication seriously. So when they learn to speak, they speak really well. So the few guys that we met in Turkey that spoke English spoke it like perfectly, something like Suleiman. I mean, it's not the level of like academic perfect, but it's semantic. At semantic level, it's like above academic because they can communicate ideas so well, like in large crowds. I really admired that skill. This is like something that I found to be really specific to this country. People like most people are really very good at communication, so that's like, I think that trading has something to do with it, right? Because you have to be a really good spokesperson to trade, to make things and to sell them, and yeah, to make transactions. It's like I really admire that trait that they have there. So yeah, in this restaurant, even I remember a moment. It's probably a moment before or after I was talking to this gentleman in front of the restaurant, and it was a really also nice conversation about the food that they have here in Antakya. Yeah, right. This it's also fascinating. This thing that happened there. So we were like on the border of Syria. There were like military troops really close, but this specific place, like this Chadbashi and the place where we stayed in Hatay, the hotel, there were like basically no signs of any unrest. People like people were all like really calm there, and I don't know, I couldn't see any signs of anything being wrong there. So it's all I really admired this all region that I visited in Turkey, this region specifically, because it's like really multicultural. I remember Suleiman showing us like churches of all major religions. So there's a Catholic one, a Protestant one, maybe, or Catholic, Orthodox, and Muslim churches. So three of them made like in the same alley, one after the other. So all people like they just um, they just live with each other and they don't make a big deal out of it. So it's like something to respect and to learn, I guess. Somewhere, our country definitely has problems with that. We had a war with our neighbors, the Serbians, and we're all always like at some quarrel with someone who's like it's mostly nationalistic and religious things. So we really have to improve like these guys in Antakya. They are really like more open-minded than us, I think, because it's for us it's really hard to communicate really openly and straightforwardly because I mean but people don't mind each other so much, but we're not used to cooperation and communication on daily basis as much. So here I think it's like so much trade going on, so many people of different cultures, so we always like going through that it's normal that you have this melting pot. Yeah, and it's really, really, how to put it, ancient melting pot, I guess, because it's a really old region. So people just learned that the differences are normal, and I really, really admire that. That's like it's not an easy thing to really appreciate everyone and everything sincerely. Yeah, I was really impressed to see the level of which the Turkish people have achieved that. And we sometimes the Western and even the Balkan regions don't think that highly of Turkish people in that regard of openness because it's always like some a prejudice. People have prejudice on the West, so that's not so good. That was this project was really eye-opening for us in a lot of ways. I mean, for me, like a general person, it wasn't so eye-opening because I expected normal people, but the things that I encountered were like so over the top good that I couldn't imagine it being that good. So yeah, I was somewhat awe-stricken by all of this. It's like really amazing what you can see how well people can like cohabitate and like learn to respect each other. It's like it's really something if you try hard enough. Yeah, a specific virtual classroom. Yeah, so I would ask you, the students, please do some reflection on this this matter of multiculturalism. Like, try to think a little bit about culture that you saw in this video, and also try to think a little bit about your stances on these matters because it's easy just not to think about these things, but just try a little bit. Like, I hope I've accomplished a little bit of like opening your eyes to some of these ideas. And also the straightforward assignment, don't forget to just uh, take a look at all of the pictures and please I will be giving us a specific assignment also. uh, Please correct me if I was wrong somewhere because I was wrong multiple times, I'm aware of that. But yeah, some really obvious flaws, and I really like that constructive criticism. Be on top of your game as much as you can while watching these videos. And alright, this is all I have to say for this one. Your teacher, over and out.